Wapi wakili? Yes.
Contrary to Section 23 of POTA, it's a serious offense, Your Honor, that attracts up to a maximum of 20 years in prison. This indicated, Your Honor, is that the accused person, together with another, whom Your Honor was identified as Mohammed Yare Abdallah, and actually had other alliances, Your Honor, were conspiring, collect information on the KICC, that is Kenyatta International Convention Centre, Your Honor, for purposes of committing a terrorist act therein, and the terrorist act, Your Honor, in this case being bringing down the building and causing loss of life and damage to property. Your Honor, you will realize that subsequently and recently, the United States government issued a reward to anybody who will give information as to the whereabouts of this Mohammed Yare Abdallah, and the reward, Your Honor, was hefty. And if I can remember, Your Honor, the reward was for $10 million for any information that could lead to the arrest of the accused person's accomplice, Your Honor. Your Honor, terrorism is not just like any other offense, and our submission is that if the accused person, with the help of his conspirator, concluded or was successful, Your Honor, in collecting the information and submitting to his coordinator, whom we believe was in Somalia, and is in Somalia, Your Honor, and the act committed, Your Honor, the effect could have been devastating for the Republic of Kenya. The fact that the act did not happen, Your Honor, does not mean that Your Honor should be lenient to the accused person, but we are praying that you met out the maximum penalty as provided for under Section 23(3) of POTA, as well as Section 29, Your Honor, on collection of information, which attracts a maximum penalty of 30 years, Your Honor. Your Honor, we had anticipated to have a witness or a worker from KICC, who is not yet arrived, as one of the victims that could have given, Your Honor, his view of the story with respect to the effect that this case had on the business or on operations of the KICC, Your Honor. That notwithstanding, we believe that we've made our case, and we believe that Your Honor is going to meet up a maximum sentence. We also wish to indicate that we do not have previous records against the accused person, but urge you still, Your Honor, to meet out the maximum sentence based on the circumstances of this case. That is all, Your Honor.
And that he should be treated as a first offender. And under those circumstances, despite the offense being serious, Your Honor, this Honorable Court, in exercising its discretion, Your Honor, we are praying that the court tampers justice with mercy and to possibly consider an uncustodial sentence as provided for under Section 35 of the Penal Code, to possibly refer the convict to probation supervision. For Your Honor, we do wish to also report it to the court that he has been receiving guests from government agencies, whereby in the event in future they said Yare is arrested, he is ready and willing to help the agencies build up a strong case for successful prosecution. Your Honor, the accused person was arrested in January 2019, and as I addressed it of this Honorable Court, he has been in custody for more than 4 years after having been denied bail. And Your Honor, for the 4 years, you realize from the pre-sentencing report, there were no concerns raised by the prison authorities on his conduct and character while in custody. Your Honor, everybody who was interviewed in regard to the character of the accused was full of praise of his character, and they are all pleading that this Honorable Court avails a second chance to the convict to relook at his life. And he's a father of 2, as replayed in the pre-sentencing reports, and they said children, since his arrest, they have been in the care of the mother, who is struggling to make ends meet after the mother to the children abandoned them. Your Honor, the family were looking forward to the support that was coming from the convict, and I believe the compounded punishment that has descended upon the convict and the family at large, Your Honor, is sufficient punishment. Your Honor, for as provided under Section 4 of the objectives of sentencing, that is the sentencing policy guidelines, Your Honor, it has listed down 6 objectives of of sentencing, and Your Honor, it's our humble submission for the 4 years plus that he's been in custody, all those objectives have been realized. Your Honor, we do plead with this Honorable Court to be swayed by the mitigating factor in.
So you give me about 20.
Yes. I am Mr. Bwire, President.
So this is the first chapter, and regrets the act. The accused person asks that he is a first offender and that he would be willing to assist to bring other perpetrators into book. The defense counsel asked the court to rely on the findings and recommendations of the probation officer, which I have, the report which I have perused. The report generally shows that the accused was of good character until commission of this offense. His family vouches for him and asked for a fair sentence so that the accused could go back home and take care of his children and elderly parents. In the pre-sentence report, the ATPU asked the court to consider the impact terror acts cause to the nation, which include loss of life, close of businesses, and generally negative impact to the economy due to sometimes relocation of businesses due to terror threats. The prosecutor asked the court to consider the nature of the case, stating that terror cases are not like ordinary cases. He submitted that had the act taken place, the effect would have been devastating. He also asked the court to consider that a bounty had been placed on the co-conspirator, one Mohamed Yare, by the U.S. government, and this should be an indicator of the threat that is posed by terrorism. The prosecutor asked the court to meet a maximum penalty under the Prevention of Terrorism Act, while the accused person urged the court to give an uncustodial sentence for accused to be under supervision of a probation officer. The judiciary sentencing policy guidelines lists the objectives of sentencing as retribution, deterrence, rehabilitation, restorative justice, community protection, and denunciation. I have considered the above principles and the mitigation by the accused person and the sentiments of the state. Terrorism is a heinous offense, which, in my view, calls for a stiff deterrent sentence. In this case, the choice of target, that is KICC, in my view, is an aggravating factor. The Kenyatta International Convention Centre is an icon and landmark for Kenya. It is a leading facility in meetings industry in this region. It is the home of many offices, both private and government offices, and houses some legislators. According to the pre-sentence report, it can accommodate up to 10,000 guests in a conference at a time. In addition, it is a tourism attraction site, and had this act happened, the impact would have been cataclysmic. Taking all these factors into account, and also taking into account the period that the accused person has been in custody, I will sentence the accused as follows. In count 1, the accused will serve a sentence of 10 years imprisonment, while in count 2, the accused person will serve a sentence of 20 years imprisonment. So these terms will run concurrently. So of course, there is a right of appeal within 14 days.
For him to defer an appeal. This matter being a serious matter of public interest. Mr. Judge, I believe
Okay, I may not be able to exactly to be specific. 7 days would help us. So I'll just make an order what priority to give.